Yes, this is real. 145,000 leads from just one Instagram post. And by the end of this video, you'll know how to implement this same Instagram DM strategy to systematically convert your existing audience into qualified revenue opportunities without additional team resources. And if you don't know me, I'm Natasha Willis. I scale 7-figure businesses to 8 figures and beyond with our social funnel conversion system that involves DM funnels, SMS, email, regular website funnels, and ads. And I've worked hands-on with over 3,000 brands now, like Nike, ClickFunnels, Russell Brunson, Amy Porterfield, Mindvalley, Codie Sanchez, and many more. Now, before we get into this video, just a heads up that I created this for businesses that already know what DM automation is on Instagram. And either you're using it, but you know that you could be getting bigger results with it, or you're trying to decide if you should finally implement it for your business. But if you're brand new to that concept, I'm going to link my DM automation overview video below in the description so that you can watch that before you watch this, because everything that I'm going to talk about in this video is going to make way more sense if you do. Now, I'm going to show you in 3 steps how my client got 145,000 leads from just one Instagram post. First, I'm going to show you what the post with the 202,000 comments on it, yes, says. Second, I'm going to show you how we turn comments into DM automations and why that's important. Bear with my handwriting here, by the way. My Apple Pencil died on me. I'm on my iPad for the first time. And side note, this is the first time I'm recording with this, so I hope I don't screw up too much, but bear with me here. And third, I'm going to share what happens in the DMs once people actually get there. Now, the best part is that this entire system runs on the content that you're already creating with 0 ad spend. Now, of course, you can and should amplify your organic results with paid traffic as you actually scale your business, but you certainly don't have to right away. And we've used this strategy on over 3,000 Instagram accounts with 7,000 followers all the way up to 60 million followers. So I know it'll work for you if you are inside of that range. Now, this post specifically that I'm showing you here got 16 million views, and my client's account has 6 million followers. But most of the people who saw the post were not followers. These days, it is so much easier than it's ever been before to get your content seen by a ton of new people, regardless of how many followers you actually have. So while I'm not saying that organic content is easy, I am saying that it is easier to go viral and grow your account than ever before, especially on Instagram. Now, I want to be clear that everyone can use these strategies to get instant results, but the volume of your results is going to depend on how many people you can get to comment on your post. So we'll do some math in a little bit so you can actually project out what your results are going to look like. But first, let's talk about the post that you could put up to get crazy results like this. The goal, just to be clear, is that you want to get as many people as possible to comment on your post. So I use a 3-part framework to get the most engagement on the post possible. It's topic, hook, comment. Now, the topic of the post needs to be related to the call to action word that you want to use. So for example, if you create content around investing and you're going to talk about how to create generational wealth in one of your pieces of content, then in that post, if you want people to comment to then learn more about maybe hiring you or working with you, then you would want to use the word wealth as the call to action word, like comment wealth. So you'll see in this example here that I'm going to show you, right, we're talking about travel hacks specifically as they relate to flights. And so the call to action word that we're choosing to use here is the word fly, because that is directly related to flying and therefore travel hacking in that specific area, right? Comment fly to get my free travel hacks guide. Now, your post hook needs to be interesting to the largest group of people possible. So let's say you have a coaching program where you help women over 40 and with kids lose weight. So your hook could be related to losing weight. And if somebody outside of your target demographic was watching that piece of content, they could still potentially resonate with it. They might send it to a friend, they might save it, etc., because they didn't feel excluded. With organic content, we do the opposite thing that you do with ads. In ads, you might say, hey, women over 40 and with kids that want to lose weight, here's, essentially how we can help you. Whereas with content, we want to start with that desire, that pain point, or bringing awareness to a problem that they might not have. It's so much better for us to go wide with the hook and not call out the target audience specifically, because take a look at these 2 examples. It is far more effective for us to get 10,000 comments and then filter those people down into, let's say, 3,000 qualified leads versus only getting 300 comments and having 90 qualified leads. I hope that makes sense. And the third step is comment, aka how are you telling people what they should do to learn more about working with you or getting a freebie from you, etc. Now for reels, if the reel is less than 15 seconds long, then don't mention the call to action on the video or in the video. You can just mention it in the caption. So see this example right here, we don't say on the video, but we do say comment quiz below in the second line of the caption, real short caption, right? Now if it's more than 15 seconds, then we will say it in the video, and ideally we will also write it on the video as well. So you can see here, I'm showing you the end of a longer reel, and we're saying comment the word blueprint there as she is actually saying that in the video as well. So what you'll want to do is play around with both of these and just see which of them gets you more sales versus increases your reach, because you want to play around with both content that's going to keep people watching and not feel like they're being sold to all the time, but then also sometimes you'll want to optimize for sales. So just play around. You could do either or depending on how long your reels are, and just test it out for a couple of weeks and then decide, okay, this is what I want to do. 3 times a week I'll have these shorter reels where I don't put it in the reel itself, and then the other reels that I post in the week are going to actually have it on the video because I do want to drive sales in that way. I hope that makes sense. And any questions you have, drop them in the comment section below. I know that there is a ton that we are going over here, so I'm going to be making a lot of videos to clarify a lot of the things that I'm sharing with you. But in the meantime, if I'm missing any aspects that you're curious about for your business, please just drop it below. Okay, now for carousels, let's take a look at 2 examples, right? So in a carousel itself, we can actually place the call to action text within the carousel on the last screen. So right here, it says comment pro and we'll send you details. We also have it right here in the bottom left corner. And then we also have it at the bottom of the caption as well. And to show you another example, this is a little bit more of a simpler design, so I think it's just easier to see. We have it here as the last line of the post itself on the last page of that carousel. And then in the caption as well, it is there too, as you can see. Next, let's look at where we're sending people to actually take action with your business. So to use this strategy, you need to turn comments into DM conversations, and it'll make sense to you in a moment why that matters. Most businesses only use a landing page as their conversion vehicle. So when they want to generate leads from their organic content in their caption or wherever on Instagram, they tell people to go to their link in bio or get people to comment, but they only send them a link. Okay. And let me be clear, we have run over 50,000 campaigns in the DMs, have sent over 200 million messages, and most businesses are ignoring this strategy and therefore leaving 75 to 95% of the revenue that they could be generating from social media on the table. That is not an exaggeration. It is the data of all the accounts that I've had the chance to see the behind the scenes data from, right? Somebody might be doing really well with content, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're converting those people into actual customers. Now, I'll give you an example. I have a client who was only getting about 200 leads a month from his Instagram. Guess how many followers he had? 600,000. So once we started working together, his first story with a call to action brought in 3,000 leads, and his second story brought in 1,000 leads. And that was just because it was a little bit more of a specific call to action that was like, hey, apply to work with me, versus the first one was a freebie. But the idea there is that, first of all, we booked out his entire sales calendar for the rest of the month with just those 2 stories. And the conclusion, the kind of takeaway there is that if you use the DMs as your conversion vehicle instead of a landing page, you're just going to get better results, because it's just what's working really well on social right now, specifically on Instagram. And here's what makes this approach so practical for businesses at your level is once you properly set this up, this entire system runs automatically and your team won't need to manually handle thousands of conversations. That's just the power of the strategic automation. And of course, if you want to grow your results quickly and grow your company quickly, you're going to want to optimize it consistently as well, but you don't have to. Okay, now let's do a little bit of math. So I'm going to show you guys the difference between a landing page and a DM conversion vehicle and what the difference would be in the actual leads and sales that you can make in the 2 different scenarios, right? So let's look at the landing page first. If we have 1,000 leads come in and we get a 20% email capture rate, which by the way, it's often less than that because what I'm counting is somebody going from your post to either your profile, clicking the link in bio, going to the landing page and entering their information, or if you're using simple DM automation, then commenting on your post, looking at the message, they click on a link that you've messaged them, and then from there, they still have to go to a landing page, enter their information on there, and then hit submit. So that submission point is what I'm talking about when I say the email capture rate. So you will see 20% or less of those people who saw your post and decided that they were curious about the thing that you were offering them actually then give you their email, which is 200 emails if we have 1,000 leads. Now from there, let's say that we have an average purchase rate of 3%, whatever my product is or services that comes after I've collected the email. So that would give us about 6 customers. Now, if we were to use this DM strategy and process that I just walked you through, where we have 1,000 people comment on that post, we collect at least 85% of those people's emails right off the bat within about 30 to 60 seconds inside of the DMs. So somebody comments on a post, they get a DM from us, we ask them for their email. It's that simple. They never have to leave the platform. So as a result, in this model, we get 850 emails that we are collecting, right? With that same purchase rate, we then have 18 customers. Now that is more than 3x the leads who can turn into customers later and 3x the sales. So before you think, okay, sure, this probably only works for certain types of businesses, we've implemented this exact same system across information businesses, e-com, services, SaaS, B2B, all with consistent results because this stuff works regardless of your industry. It's built on fundamental consumer psychology and what is happening right now. And as an example of that and kind of an ode to it, Mark Zuckerberg has consistently said over the last couple of years that if he was building Facebook all over again, Meta now, he would start with messaging. So people are using messaging so much every single day. And if you're not using it in this way, then like I said, you are literally missing out on 75 to 95% of sales. I'm not exaggerating. Over 600 million conversations are had every single day between businesses and people on Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook Messenger. So long story short, this is happening whether you're there or not. And so you want to be a part of that conversation, literally. All right, so far I've shown you what the post with 202,000 comments on it looked like and how you can use that same 3-part framework we use there on your own post to get a ton of comments. And then I showed you why you need to turn comments into DM conversations so they can ultimately turn into at least 3x the leads and the sales. And now let's look at what happens in the DMs once people actually get there after commenting so we can turn them into leads. Now let's define leads, by the way, for the purposes of this video only as a new email that's added to your database. So here's what the messages actually look like. This is just part of the longer conversation, but this is really going to help you better understand what I'm talking about here when it comes to the conversion vehicle of the DMs, right? So I'm going to walk you through step by step what's essentially happening here as soon as somebody dives into the conversation. Now, at the very beginning, what happens is that somebody, like I said, just commented on a post, right? The word fly in the example that I gave you, and then they instantly receive this message right here. It says, hey, sounds like you're ready to be a smarter traveler, etc. Just click below and I'll send over this free guide, right? So we promised the free guide in the post and we're using the exact same language here. This is really important. So just a couple of quick copy tips I want to give you is that we want to make sure we're referring to it in the same way. We wouldn't use like a totally different name to describe that thing. We want to remind people that that was what they asked us for. Okay, from there, then someone's going to click on the little button there. And now we're going to ask them for their name and their email. So as soon as we do that, this happens in like 15 to 30 seconds, guys. So it's very, very quick. It's very efficient. And it's really a win-win-win for everyone across the board. Like I said, there's 600 million conversations happening every day between businesses and people. And the business benefits here because I'm collecting 85% of emails versus 20% or less. And for the user, I'm like, cool, this took me 15, 30 seconds. And now I'm going to get access to this thing that I would have potentially had to work a lot harder for as well because I would have had to go to their link in bio. Maybe it's missing from there. I get over it. The page is loading slow, so on and so forth, right? So back to the point here that essentially they go through 1, 2, 3, and then finally the 4th step is just them receiving that. And we let them know, hey, we've emailed you the guide, and then we present that guide to them. Now, what you are not seeing in between each of these different steps, so like right here, for example, right here, and then actually right here as well at the beginning. So those 3 places, when people drop off right there, there is a follow-up message that comes 3 minutes later. And then we also follow up about a day later, just so that we can make sure that we're getting them what they need. And you're not seeing that happen here because most people, 85% or more, are actually going to go through the conversation just as we've outlined it here and I'm showing you. But some people are going to drop off, they get busy, they get a phone call, whatever happens, right? Okay, so let's recap. If you implement just that comment to DM conversion system that I showed you today, you will capture at least 3x more leads from your existing content immediately. And for a 7 or 8-figure business that's posting at least 4 times a week on Instagram, that translates to hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, a year in additional revenue that you're going to be able to get, again, from your same content efforts. Nothing changing on that front end. Now, I don't want to sugarcoat the fact that the tech implementation of this does require attention to detail, proper integration, message copy, logic, and conversion tracking systems, depending on what you sell and how many products you have. But the ROI makes it so worth it. You just cannot ignore the fact that you're going to be able to potentially 3x your sales with this. Now, if you still aren't sure if this will work for your business in specific, here's something that you can test out as soon as you finish watching this video. So take your last Instagram post with 20 plus comments on it and manually reply to those commenters like like as a response to their comment and say, glad this resonated. I just sent you a DM with a resource that'll help you with this. And let's say, for example, your post was about the real reason why they're not losing weight. As an example, we could use the business example I gave you a little earlier, which is that I sell some kind of fitness coaching program for women over 40 that also have kids, right, and want to lose weight. And so as an example in that scenario, I can message those people and I could say something like, hey, thanks so much for commenting on my post. I'm glad that resonated with you. What's your number one goal right now with fitness? I would love to see if I have a resource that could support you with that and just help however I can, right? And this manual implementation is going to show you the power of the approach of being able to touch base with these people. And I guarantee you'll get a couple of responses and that people will start a deeper conversation with you. Be like, wow, well, thank you so much for reaching out. And, I'm struggling with XYZ, or this is my XYZ goal. And then from there, you can actually send them something if you have it, or at least send them a little bit of advice. Could be a voice note, whatever. And that can lead to a sale really easily. So I'd love to know if you end up trying that. Let me know in the comments, but it's one of the easiest ways to just test the actual psychology and process of this if you want to do that before you start to go down the automation route. So I hope you enjoyed this. And if you want more, just hit the subscribe button below. That'll help more businesses like you find my videos and get unstuck with their revenue growth from social media. And if you have any questions at all, just drop them below. I actually check them and reply. Thanks so much for watching and hope you got a ton out of this.